I do like to credit this movie with introducing the world to Thor. And when Natalie Portman was deemed the first female Thor, I will say, I took a little bit of offense to that. I like to claim that title. I like to hold that title close to me. So if anybody sees Natalie Portman, just let her know.
We are here to celebrate one of the greatest movies that has ever been made, and nobody's getting out of this place without singing the blues. So make some noise for the cast of Adventures in Babysitting. We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
Greatest movies ever made. That was astonishing.
Are you kidding me? This is not only one of the greatest movies ever made, folks. This is the birth of the MCU. We all know who invented the phrase "Thor is a homo." And I might get canceled now because it's 2024. I know they had to scrub that line from Disney+, but as you can tell, I am quite obsessed with Adventures in Babysitting. It's been one of my biggest, just favorite movies. You guys have been heroes of mine since I was a little kid. So who are the heroes that inspired you to get into acting?
Whoa! Oh, I liked stuntman. I liked Hooper and the stuntman, and I liked guys that fell off horses and jumped off buildings and stuff, and would do. I think I wanted to be a stuntman before I wanted to be an actor. I had no real solid father figure in my life, so I just went for any type A man.
Wow. Okay. I don't know that I had any heroes before I started. I was only 4 when I started, so there wasn't a lot of awareness. But I think eventually people like Lucille Ball and Whoopi Goldberg, Lily Tomlin, the classic comedians, I think was where I kind of gravitated towards.
Oh, I love that. I forgot to give this little preface before we go, guys. But again, this is your panel. I do want to make sure you guys feel like you have every chance to jump in there with questions. I know it takes a while for the room to warm up, so I kick things off. Believe me, I'd be happy to talk to them all day. But nothing's going to make them feel more loved than seeing a bunch of hands go up when we do get to audience questions. So don't be afraid to start thinking of those now. What was your first impressions of the project when it came to you? And again, I know maybe a little bit young for you to remember. I thought it was pedantic at age 4,
I do remember getting the phone call that they had cast me and being so super excited about it, and then doing rehearsals and thinking, well, I'd never done rehearsals for anything before. You just showed up on set and they were like, okay, we're gonna do this scene, and you do the scene, and then that's it. So to have, it was 2 weeks of just fun playtime was incredible, and I think really set the tone for the whole film, the whole shoot.
I've never had 2 weeks rehearsal on any film. Toy Soldiers, we had 1 week in the hotel at the location in a conference room. But Adventures of Babysitting, we did it like a play. Too. We would go, and after we'd kind of broken down the scenes, and we were improvising during rehearsal, having fun. With Sue Richards, the script, Chris, you got that? And Sue Richards would be like, I got that. And it would show up in pages and eventually, and that was, I appreciated that they were listening to us kids. We were, really, and respected by Chris. He goes, your characters, and if you had an idea, he would never really say no to us, And it was adventure because we're young and we're traveling. We're off into Canada and being thrown into this kind of new family and stuff like that. And Elizabeth too, quickly, because I had a crush on her, but I also looked up to her and taking her lead,
Love that. So, being that I'm from Chicago, I have to ask if there are, I don't know how much of the movie was actually shot in Chicago versus, like you said, Canada. Is my Chicago heart about to be broken? Was none of it in Chicago?
We had to sell it as Chicago. So 2 months in Toronto and 2 weeks in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
We got a little Chicago in there. Although I don't know if it has been pointed out to me that in the poster, and I also think in the film itself, the Associates building, which is the slanted building that I end up on, is not in its correct location in the Chicago skyline.
I'm not savvy enough on the skyline of Chicago. I haven't lived there for 20 years, so that may not be the case. But I know, to me and to many other Chicagoans, that is not the Associates building. That is the Adventures in Babysitting building.
Okay, great, awesome.
That's they can.
I think of it as the Running Scared building because they rappel down into the middle. They use the Stone Javits or Stone Smurf. What was it called back then? In the interior at the third act of Running Scared with Billy Crystal.
Called the Chrysler building then? What was it? I can't remember, but
It's the same building?
Yeah, same building.
Whoa.
It had been used for, we never set foot or saw it.
Nope.
They did background plate photography. The lobby was in Toronto for us, and then her hanging off the building was
On a stage in LA.
Point City and Santa Monica at an insert stage in LA.
Yeah.
So do you have any like specific Chicago-based memories though, or do you remember like, oh, I got really good food in Chicago or anything?
I remember it was cold,
probably cold, right?
So cold. I had never been that cold in my whole life, and we had all these layers on. They gave us these silk long johns, and then I had it seemed like 6 pairs of leggings and the 2 turtlenecks and a sweater and the jacket and it was so freezing. The wind would just come off the. Oof.
We did Dawson's Garage, and we really went into Lower Rocker Drive, which was fine because there's no wind down there. But then the interior of the garage was just some garage out in the city, and it was -80 with wind chill. And our eyelashes froze for a makeup trailer just walking, 100 feet into the building. It was so cold that day.
That definitely reminds me of home. That eyelashes frozen. I'm like, oh, my bones are cold just thinking about this now. So I know on comedy sets, the mood can actually be a little bit serious, not as light as maybe sometimes a horror drama. But what is the funniest memory of on set for you guys?
We crack up at our own jokes. I mean,
So
the horns with the second AD, and you go into the bathroom, and I don't know.
that was fun. For me, I think it was when we're in the tow truck, and Noonan takes us to his house where he's busting his wife having an affair, and they do the bullet through the window. And so I'm sitting passenger side. I'm sitting on Elizabeth Shue's lap, and we're in this truck, and they had put a plexiglass window and then the actual glass that was going to get shot, and then they were going to shoot at it and break it, and my face is this close, and they're like, it's going to be fine, it's fine, we're just going to shoot at it, and the bullet is going to go through the glass, but it's going to stop when it gets to the plexiglass, so you're fine. And that was a good time.
It was like a 3/3-inch steel ball bearing that they air cannoned into this thing, and it made a good loud noise.
It was loud.
We jumped. Whoa! If you look, you can see where it striates out, where it hits the actual plexiglass. So the illusion, it's so quick, but you can see that it doesn't go through. But that was practical on set. Now they'll just CGI little bullet holes.
Wow, I always remember your guys' reactions to that though. That's one of those shots in a movie you're like, oh, they definitely were not that's real.
Yeah.
Second or third night of shooting, they're like, we're gonna aim steel ball bearings at Maia's face.
Crazy. It was fine.
Jesus, where's Alec Baldwin when you need him?
Fine.
Gosh. It's a joke. Come on. We were talking on set shootings. We had to make it. It's just hanging there. Come on. It's sorry. That's
bad.
in poor taste. All right. Are there any memories of anything that you shot that didn't wind up in the movie? Anything you remember shooting that got cut?
Well, no. And as a matter of fact, we needed more footage than we had. So in the middle of doing either the chop shop or the parents' party scene, they said, we need one more cutaway to Brenda. We just don't have enough scenes to cut back to Brenda's story. And they wrote the wiener scene with the hot dog vendor, got the head of extras union in Canada. He goes, I'm here, I'll just play the part. So do you have any cash? I don't have a wiener. And we did lunch, and we come out and we see them shooting this scene, and we're like, what is going on? They're like, we need to pick up a Brenda shot. So they wrote more stuff, I think. Honestly, sometimes you cut a beginning or an end of a line or two, but they reordered the car scenes. She tells the story with the hook first, and then we get into, oh, are you a gearhead in the Playboy? And then when they cut the movie, they flipped the scene so that they could time the rah, rah, rah with the hook to the tire blowing out, which was really good. They hand cut it with white gloves and film on a moviola. A father-son team, the Steinkamps, hand cut this movie, measuring out, timing and stuff by the old way of counting frames of film.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
I learned something new about about this movie every time I do one of these panels with Keith.
I learn something
It's really
new
fun.
about this movie every time.
That's why we're all here. We all love this movie. We all want to learn things about it. So that, in the spirit of that, I do want to give the audience a chance to jump in with questions. I know you guys get a little bit shy, so believe me, I have plenty here. But all right, excellent. I'll come right out, bring the mic to you.
I don't need a microphone.
Oh, we need one. So
Hello. Are either of you aware, or did you see the CBS spinoff series they tried to do for the movie with Joey Lawrence and Brian Austin Green?
I am aware of it.
My agent is Courtney Peldon, who played Sara in the pilot. Yes, it's on YouTube. It's great. It's got the music, the theme song, the thing. And the story is the kids go to Sevi and it gets robbed and they go to the sewer and shackle a giant alligator, I think is the story.
Oh, I don't know that.
It's ridiculous. And it's so surreal to watch it.
Is it just a pilot?
It's just a pilot. They aired it at 3:30 in the morning on a Friday, just dumped it. Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yes, oh, absolutely. Jennifer Guthrie's the star. And I forget who plays Brad.
And she
and
went
Daryl.
on to be in a show that I did later on, Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
yes, love that show. My God. So I think we had another question right here.
So Maia,
Yes.
before this movie or after, have you been a fan of Thor?
Yes, of course. Before the movie, I was not much of a comic book kid, but they sent me I remember getting a giant box of Thor comic books right before we started rehearsal, and they were just like, just read through them. And I was obsessed with them. It was just incredible. And I had never seen that kind of artwork and that kind of storytelling, but nobody knew who Thor was at that point. So yeah, I do like to credit this movie with introducing the world to Thor. And when Natalie Portman was deemed the first female Thor, I will say I took a little bit of offense to that. I
don't
like to
blame you.
claim that title. I like to hold that title close to me. So if anybody sees Natalie Portman, just let her know. You saw it
You
here
went the
first.
first,
Yes,
Natalie.
yeah.
I'm going to use deep fakes. I'm going to put you on
Okay, great.
Thor.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So do you want to give the audience another chance? Do we have more questions, Brett? I'll run across.
Any memories of John Davis Chandler, who plays the leader of the Stolen Parts Ring? He's a favorite character actor who was in Westerns for Sam Peckinpah.
Oh, Grayson. Take the kids upstairs. We'll deal with them after the meeting. Well, he scared the hell out of us on set. Absolutely.
You know what I remember about him is that original line had the F word in it.
Oh my God.
It was take the fucking Brady Bunch upstairs. And he didn't want to say it. He didn't want to, that's what I remember. There was a big back and forth about whether or not he was going to say that. And we had to do some with it and some without it because he didn't like, he just didn't like using the obscenity. That's what I remember.
Yeah, he's so great though, because there is just a moment of absolute menace in the movie when our lovely car thief, he goes, get the car. And he goes, what are you going to do? You know, run him over? And Grayson looks at him and he goes, get the car. You're like, oh, he's going to run him over. He's going to kill these children. Yeah, that was nice to have a real, because the stakes, it's a fun adventure. It's like nobody gets stabbed. Oh, wait, Rad gets stabbed. Wait, there's no guns. Oh, wait, the guy in the bus station with the gun and Brenda.
Yeah.
We do, it is perilous and stuff, but he has a nice heavy. When they did the G-rated remake on Disney Channel, the 100th Disney Channel original movie, they really caricaturized the bad guys as buffoonish kind of Saturday morning cartoon, and it lost any sort of stakes, I thought.
That's the thing that's great about Chandler is he's playing it serious. It's like someone forgot to tell him he's in a comedy.
It's so good. And I remember him being such a nice man. Yeah. Like so kind and sweet. And then he got on camera and we were all like, yikes.
We're getting into specific scenes. I, of course, have to ask about the blues scene. Any memories of that and like the logistics? I'm sure you had to record the music first, right?
I remember recording the music. They took us to a sound studio and we recorded the music. That was a couple of days of shooting, and it was every time it was like the best thing ever. Every single take was so much fun. That's what I remember. And choreography. Who doesn't love choreography, right?
Which was done by Chris Columbus's wife, Monica Devereaux. You know, like as soon as we crossed Devereaux Street,
I was going to say, there goes Devereaux.
She choreographed Elizabeth Shue's dance at the beginning for And Then He Kissed Me, and she played the street prostitute. How old are you? I'm 17. I ran away from home, the redhead with the white fur coat. So there's a lot of Chris Columbus little Easter eggs in there with Monica. And she taught us our choreography for, my favorite part is lifting you up, and she should be in bed. It was a Sunday, which is rare because you have to pay extra to cast and everything. And they called us on a Sunday to go into, Chris Columbus knows, some legendary recording studio in Chicago. And they're blah, blah, so-and-so recorded. As we came in, Albert Collins and the Icebreakers are finishing up their 12-bar shuffle that they're playing when we bust onto stage. So they were like, they basically did a take, made it up on the spot, and they're like, all right, that's the track for when they run in. Then they moved into us doing the thing. And they did it, they broke it into their tracks, and then Lisa's vocals, Albert's vocals, and then us, doing, back in Anthony's all like harmonizing and everything.
We didn't all go on to be Broadway stars, but.
And then the very next day, they'd make a temporary track, like just a temp edit of mixing of the song. And Monday, we're at Fitzgerald's outside of Chicago, which is the bar where Paul Newman gave the Balabushka to Tom Cruise in The Color of Money. Same location. And we did Monday, Tuesday, shot with 3 Panavisions. And in those, we just did the sequence from beginning to end. We never did little pieces. It was like a little mini 3-minute stage play. And then with 1 camera in the back on a big dolly track going back and forth, and a couple of cameras they would move around. 80 extras for the, bar patrons.
Who brought it every take. They brought it every single take. It was amazing.
We had to earn it too. They would just sit there and stare at us, and we're like, and they extend the end that you'll hear Albert Collins, they'll hear a riff, a couple of bars that they repeat as we're making our way out high-fiving with Albert. And what's funny about Albert is he had trouble lip syncing because he had just done the take before, and he improvises every phrasing new and fresh every time as a blues guitarist. But he had to lock it and do his riffs on guitar and his vocalizations. And, what's wrong, Albert? And he goes, well, I've never lip synced before. And I thought that was great. So we were the first time that Albert Collins had to lip sync. And that sequence came out as, Chris Columbus said movies have to have 3 great scenes and, no bad ones. And the L train sequence with the gang and the blues bar, I think the frat house sequence was intended to be another set piece. That was trimmed a bit. We did trim just a few little bit of stuff, mostly out of the very end of escaping the frat house scene. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, ADD. Well, the blues is one of the people's favorite things is they always remember that. I actually forgot about it this whole weekend, never talked about it until right now. We were talking about L Train and stuff like that.
Well, since you mentioned the L Train, and again, being from Chicago, I have to ask if there's any specific memories of shooting that scene.
So we just like took over an L Train, basically is what happened. So there we were, like just in the L Train car, just like riding around Chicago filming, just like basically on a loop.
On the loop.
On the loop, yeah. It was really fun. There were all of these, and I don't know, because I'm going to tell this story a little funky, and then you're going to fix it for me. No. But we had to do a pickup on that, so we had to get back in. But I don't know that I was there for that because I was under these sort of looser child actor confinements, essentially, for the times that I could work. And so they had worked out this deal that I could work until midnight. And at midnight, I became a pumpkin, and I had to go home. So a lot of the stuff was like kind of rushed through because they needed to get the shots with me in it, clearly me in it, before midnight. And then there was this wonderful Canadian girl who is not subject to the same laws as I was, who slaved away from midnight on in my costume. There are a few shots where I can tell that it's her and not me. But other than that, so you guys had to go back and basically break back in to refilm. But I don't think I was there for that.
Did you go to Daly's?
I went to dailies. Yeah,
we were invited, and it's rare. Usually directors and stuff, they don't want you to go to dailies because if you see something you don't like, you're like, oh, I don't like that look or behavior. You might stop it, but they love it. But Chris trusted us to go see dailies, and we needed to see how this movie was bidding because we shot it out all out of order and stuff. When we're seeing how it looked this night, Rick Waite had shot like 48 hours and a lot of great films. We were using 2 cameras on the subway. An A camera with Rick Waite operating and a B camera. And the B camera would get like a wider shot or a close-up, depending on whatever A camera is doing, B camera is doing the opposite. So the B camera came in soft on one of Lisa's shots. They're like, oh, we need, it's a little soft focus. We just need one shot. We need to get back into the subway. And we shot until maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, and then we ran over to the subway. You were wrapped.
Yeah.
We didn't even have the double. We didn't need her. It was just like a piece on my shoulder next to Lisa's face. And the MTA people failed to meet us at the platform. We had the driver. We just didn't have the key to get beyond to the train. Train's right there. So our stunt coordinator, Rocco Bianchi,
who plays one of the gang leaders.
he's one of the gang leaders, and he does he's playing me, I think, on the walk, on the beam, and doubles for stuff outside. He had a lockpick kit. So he picked the Chicago Loop subway. We got onto the platform, got in the train, rode around, got the shot we needed, and then wrapped up. So it was, had permission to be there.
Right.
Just were physically blocked by, a lock. No biggie.
Oh my God, that is so cool. So I'm hogging the mic, and I see there's more audience questions here. So.
It's totally fine. You're doing a great job. You are. You really are. That's just how it works. It's a back and a forth.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
You didn't get anyone in trouble, like, with that last thing? No,
not at all. We're beyond the statute of limitations.
Awesome. So on the set, how many scenes were difficult to get through because someone was were you, like, trying to make each other laugh a lot? Were you being a little goofy? Who was the prankster on set, really? Trying to mess up other people?
There's a rule: never waste time or money on a set, never damage equipment, never damage costumes, never anything that can be a delay. And we just did not have time for any messing around. I don't remember pranking. I don't remember practical jokes. We would certainly get the post-lunch giggles or some scene where we just can't pull it together for a second, but it wasn't ever really bad. I don't think. Do you remember anything that was terrible?
I don't remember. I remember Calvin being a little impish. He plays the car thief.
Huh.
But I think that was just maybe him and Lisa flirting.
Oh, and we had to shoot the John Ford Noonan stuff in every city. So we shot it a couple times in Toronto, all the stuff in the cab of the truck.
I feel like those were the hard ones.
They were hard.
He's
a theater actor. He's very in the moment, and so it would be kind of different every time, and they hadn't quite, something didn't work about the shot. We did poor man's process. We did towing it on a thingy. Then we did it in the Introvision stage,
right.
But poor man's process in the Introvision stage. And we finally, that's cut together from 3 different cities, every single tow truck driver scene, yeah. You can tell it kind of goes to one close-up of him where it's like totally different lighting than the wide shot.
Yeah.
But he was he also would whistle as he approached. He said he stole the whistle from a theme of some old Hitchcock movie. Dun, 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 dun. And then Michael came and put it into the music score with violins doing it, then fed back into like his character theme.
Yep.
The music was such a part of it. Every eyebrow lift, every look, we'd get little like animated, a musical narration along with it, which helped it stay as a comedy, I think.
Well, I gotta say, it's really cool to see you guys still have the dynamic of a brother and sister. So
my balls all the time.
How long was it between shooting until you guys saw each other again and started doing cons? And talk about a little bit about that experience, about reconnecting as adults.
Oh wow! Yeah, from December we rehearsed. We shot it January to March. The movie came out in July, and we did a press tour for that. Movie came out, and then she went on and worked like a ton of stuff and TV and yeah. And I did like Hiding Out was my next one, which I stole the script off of Anthony Rapp's coffee table when we were on. Yeah, he had a script. And I go, what's that? And he goes, it's a character, it's too close to Daryl. He's a sex fiend and like talks real fast. And he goes, I don't want to do it. And I go, can I call my agent on that? And it was hiding out. Wow. Thank you, Anthony, for hiding out. We started to do the conventions. And my wife is a fangirl, and like I would go to conventions with her, and we like the nerds. Dude, seeing the nerds together, and when they get their photo op and how they play off of each other, you know, I know that fans really appreciate that. And then, there obviously is something organic. There's something to be said about casting. The Babysitter could have been Phoebe Cates. The Babysitter could have been Valerie Bertinelli, who both screen tested right in front of us. But there was something, they mixed and matched. They threw me with another girl, then with Maia, then with a different, me and Anthony swapped. They go, you read for Daryl, and Anthony, you read for Brad. We did, and they go, okay, swap back. So there's got to be something about it, chemistry, a little bit of a thing. And I won't take it back. I won't take back what I said about that.
That's on you, dude.
Cringe.
And Maia, any of your first memories of, reconnecting with Keith years later, doing conventions, getting to that scene?
I remember there was like a screening in LA, and you had reached out to me and said, do you want to come and do this like Q&A thing? And I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds neat. And I had done maybe one in New York with Anthony as well. But I was totally oblivious to all of this, to the con scene, until a few years ago I started doing them. And I haven't done a ton, but it's fantastic. I love it. So I'm gonna try to keep doing them because it's like a wonderful way to spend the weekend.
Oh man, well we're so.
It's so funny how you and Lisa, that's Elizabeth Shue with an S. So on first day on set, she goes, "But you can call me Lisa." And we're like, "Oh, absolutely, we're calling you Lisa for the rest of our lives." They're both in the Back to the Future trilogy. How is this possible?
That's right.
How did this Back to the thing? Is it through the Chris Columbus Spielberg-esque connection to the thing? Amazing. So yeah, you guys are both in the Back to the Future universe. So yeah, Back to the Future is an amazing.
Except I was in the Back to the Future universe before Adventures in Babysitting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh no, admit it. Oh heck yeah.
I'm not trying to sound. I feel like I sound super competitive today. I'm
All
not
actors are
trying
competitive,
to be super
and
competitive
brothers and
about
sisters
it.
are competitive. So there's no faking any sort of competitiveness. We are, but we're okay with that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like Maia being in Back to the Future, and obviously Keith, we all know you were in another movie with Babysitter in the title. But there's so many in this movie. Like obviously Elizabeth Shue goes on to do Leaving Las Vegas, Penelope Ann Miller's and Carlito's Way, and Kindergarten Cop. Like, what's your favorite seeing a former Adventures in Babysitting castmate in this movie or that?
Bradley Whitford. He's the nicest actor in the world, and you say rolling, and he could be the biggest jerk. Bradley Whitford is amazing. And everybody worked. The head of the gang thingy, he went on to NYPD Blue. Everybody continued, Ron Canada continued to work.
Lola Davidovich.
No. She was dumb blonde in the script. Lolita David, because her agent said, Davidovich is too, no, it's too. Agents don't know nothing.
She's in it for like a split second and then went on to do a bunch of stuff.
Wow. Cool. So do you want to give the audience one last chance to jump in there, guys? Have I hogged the mic and sucked all the air out of the room with all my questions?
No, Thanks for coming, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the questions. And
so one last one I'll leave you with, and then I'll let you guys get back to your table. If there was an Adventures in Babysitting 2, would you be for it or against it, and what would you want to see?
You mean like a sequel?
A sequel, yes, a legacy sequel. In canon, in timeline.
I mean, yeah, that would be sweet.
This is Killa. This is Keith. I'll do it.
But
it could be anything. When they did the thing, I said, hey, they should have the kids running around the city, and they pass us just standing on the corner lost. And the audiences would appreciate that.
Yeah.
It could be anything. We could be us. I think we are. And some of these kids need babysitting. And, obviously you could pull it. We could just be bookends, the beginning and the end. And we make a phone call in the beginning. It could be a cameo. It could be put on our shoulders. I don't care. But they are rebooting and remaking stuff. It's easier for studios to lean on that known thing, that there's a built-in audience. But I love that it continues, that people will come up cosplaying as Sara.
Yeah, that's really neat.
The boots and the hat and the
Yeah.
thing. And that's very special.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, guys, be sure to get to their table, get some autographs, get some pictures. I know they have a lot more stories to tell you. And put your hands together and make some noise for these legends.
Thanks, everybody. That was fun. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
What are we going to do tonight, Brain?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Watch Fandom Spotlite videos and then take over the world.
Hey, God, that's great. And maybe we should tell them all to have fun?
And follow their fandom. Then bow before my genius.